Hello amigos and welcome back. It is episode 4 and we are not going to be monkeying around. We're going to get down to business and we are talking pre-spend today. Stay with me. Welcome and bienvenidos, amigos. If you happen to be new here, welcome. Bienvenidos. My name is Laura and I'm an army wife that happens to love luxury and I happen to love Hermes. And this is my mission. My mission for these series of videos, for my Hermes video series, is to just share with you that, it's not so complicated or costly as others might have made it seem. If it is, your priority, your liking, your mission, your desire to build a relationship at an Hermes boutique with a wonderful sales associate, so that way in hopes of one day receiving an offer for a quota bag. And these videos are going to cover my experience in building my relationship and what the strategy that I took to, of course, receive thankfully 2 offers for quota bags with a very minimal pre-spend. And again, not spending in a lot of the categories that others say that you have to spend in. That is today's topic because pre-spend is a hot topic around here, especially on YouTube. I know if you are like me, you have watched a lot of other videos as well where people share their pre-spend. They are tallying up what they have spent, what categories that they have bought in from Hermes. My best advice to give you as you are building your relationship with an Hermes SA, once you have found somebody that you have connected with and you have already determined what quota bag you would like, and you have already pretty much established your color palette, the colors that you are interested in, and you have made that connection and you have asked your sales associate to consider you, you've given them your wish list of what you so desire, and now you're starting to begin your purchase history. You're starting to build that with your sales associate. And this is where my advice to you is, you want to play at your own pace and you need to play at your own risk, is the best advice that I could give you. It's very common for us as we watch a lot of videos where you hear of a lot of other people in different social media platforms where they're saying they have spent, a 1-to-1 ratio, a 2-to-1 ratio, maybe 3-to-1, even more. And of course, within the United States, it's not as easy as if you were to go to like Europe or to Paris and then possibly get on the lottery system and maybe be fortunate for them to offer you a handbag without any purchase history. So here in the States, of course, we have to develop that. And as I have mentioned before, I have had a minimal pre-spend for both of the quota bag offers that I have received from my SA that I mainly have built my relationship with and primarily purchased from, who offered me the 2 handbags that I do have, the Birkin and the Kelly. As my husband mentioned a long time ago, you don't go to Vegas if you don't like to gamble. And in doing so, as you are building your relationship, with Hermes, as you are buying from Hermes and, selecting items that you want to add, to your collection, whether it's handbags or home goods, whatever it is, there is going to be a risk. So that's why I say play at your own risk. There's always going to be a chance that it can be risky, but you have to know that going in. And it's important for us to build our relationship, but then also as you are selecting items that you are wanting to buy to build your profile, so that way it counts towards your pre-spend, is you want to buy things that actually, that you're going to use. And that's what I have done. I have not purchased anything that just for the sake of getting something that can, increase my chances of, being made an offer for a quota bag. And this is where it's going to vary specifically for everybody, because some are more in a hurry I think, to receive an offer. And some, like myself, I just occasionally purchase and take my time, and I don't consistently go in like every month or every couple of months to quickly build a pre-spend. And so in my case, it's extremely different from what you typically hear from other people that are sharing their stories, because most often a lot of people have a boutique that's local to them or close to them, where they can easily go quite often, and will go in and purchase, and quite a bit. Like, they'll consistently spend, maybe 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 every time they go. And if you are consistently doing that, then that will most likely, yes, increase your chances of receiving a quota bag a lot sooner. But with that comes the possibility that you will end up spending a lot more, to where you are going to, a person can easily get to a 1-to-1 ratio, a 2-to-1 ratio, or even more, because they're going in quite often and buying and buying and buying and buying. And for me, nobody has ever told me that you have to spend a specific amount, especially with all the sales associates that I have worked with, or, been in communication with as I am making purchases at the various boutiques that I have gone to. The main things that the sales associates have told me is to basically just go in and, build that rapport, build that relationship with them, and be consistent to where you are consistently purchasing within the store and not purchasing online, because your online purchases don't count. You want to make sure that you are specifically purchasing from that main associate that you are working with. And if you're able to maintain relationships with various stores or various relationships, if you can financially manage that, then that's great, right? Even though I do have relationships with different sales associates I've met at different boutiques, I'm not always consistently buying constantly from all of them, right? Normally I take my time, and I'm, for a time period, I'm working with one specifically. And also sometimes, depending on where I go or where I travel, I'll go to a boutique and I will buy something there, because that's in a sense like my souvenir. But I don't count that towards my specific pre-spend for the bags that I receive, because I didn't make those purchases with my sales associate where she got the commission on it, and it wasn't made at that store, right? These are just random purchases that I have made outside of my designated home boutique of where I normally purchase from. Sales associates have also told me that, yes, you do want to buy in other categories, not so much, just sticking to leather goods. And that was from one of my sales associates in Cancun. But for my purchase history, for my pre-spend, a lot of my purchases have been mainly within the leather goods category. They have been handbags, they've been shoes, and they've been SLGs. I don't venture out into the other categories where it's extremely expensive. And one of those categories is, of course, jewelry. For me, I don't buy any, jewelry, especially the gold jewelry, from the boutique, because I think it's very, very overpriced, and it doesn't hold its value. So I just stick to what I know I'm going to use, which is the shoes. I'll use the Twillies. I'll use like the SLGs. I use like the hair accessories. There's few little things that I have bought like within the home department. So I stick to items that I'm going to use, and I don't venture into a lot of other categories that a lot of people say that you have to purchase from, like jewelry, like homeware, getting a lot of plates, like you're getting like dinnerware sets and things for the home. You're getting, pillows and blankets and, things within the, children's section. Or a lot of people will end up buying a lot of stuff for their spouses, so that their spouses can have like belts, ties, shoes. As I mentioned, my husband is not into luxury at all. He doesn't like any of it. He's just very, very simple. So those are, for me, those are not expenses that I've ever made in those categories for ready to wear, or really heavy purchases like in the homeware or home goods, where it's going to be like a higher commission for the consultant. A lot of my purchases have been strictly within the leather categories, and I've still been able to receive the 2 handbag offers. I feel that as we watch a lot of videos and we hear a lot of people sharing their purchases, and I feel it's a lot of monkey see, monkey do. So because a lot of people have said, okay, you have to spend a 1-to-1 ratio, that's what I spent. And a lot of people, I feel, think that's the norm, that you have to. As I said, no sales associate has ever said you have to spend a 1-to-1 or a 2-to-1 or whatever you have to spend the amount of what the handbag currently costs. Nobody has ever said that to me. It's always been the focus of the relationship and just being consistent and purchasing from that specific sales associate. So my advice is monkey see, monkey don't. Yes, you can see what other people are sharing with what they've purchased, because maybe it's something that interests you. Maybe it's an item that they bought that you didn't see on the website, right? Because like myself, I don't consistently go into the website and look for items that are being released, what's new. I don't look into the website. Maybe every 2-3 months I might go in there and I might browse around to see what's there. I mainly sometimes will watch videos, most often, or I'll see posts on Instagram of maybe even like really like resellers of what they have, because if I see something, then I'm like, okay, let me go onto the site, or let me reach out to my sales associate to ask her, is this an item that you have, or can you pull it in for me? If there's an item that I see online on the website, the first thing that I do is I reach out to my sales associate first and ask her, do you have this? And if not, can you request it in so that I make the purchase directly through you? Until she tells me no, I can't get it for you, then I will go and I will purchase it online. And I know it's not going to count to my pre-spend, to my purchase history. But I will always go and I will look for something. If I see it on the website or whatever, she's the first person I'm going to ask, do you have it? Can you pull it in? And then do me a charge send where she rings it up and then has it sent to me. That's always going to be the first route that I take before I purchase anything online. My other piece of advice is to not be in a race. Sometimes I feel as I watch videos that people will say, oh, I'm on this Hermes journey, or I want to start, building my profile. I want to start building my pre-spend to get an offer. And I feel that sometimes they go at a quicker pace because whether maybe possibly, you never know how people are. Maybe they might feel in competition with their own selves or with other people, with them sharing what they've bought and how quickly they receive an offer. And then other people will see how others are spending, or maybe whether it's your own family or friend and you see how quickly they are spending and they get an offer. And then that might make that person feel more rushed to hurry up and, build this pre-spend, and to where they end up overspending. In my opinion, you end up overspending, especially if you have already exceeded like the 1-to-1 ratio. That for me is above I think what anyone should be spending. That's just my own personal opinion. And so don't make it a race. Go at your own pace, because you're playing at your own risk. You're playing at your own risk of hopefully receiving an offer, but just keeping in mind always that your primary concern is to just consistently build that relationship with the SA. Don't get too carried away with a lot of the spending. As I do happen to purchase items from my SA, I'm always keeping in the back of my mind how much I have spent, or I will keep track. I will keep track and on my notes within my phone, within my iPhone, of what I have spent. But I also keep a spreadsheet of course, for like insurance purposes, for tax purposes, because I keep a log of what I have been buying throughout the year. So I keep a tally of that. So that also helps me be mindful. Okay, what did I spend this year at Hermes with my essay? What did I spend this year in 2020? 2021, 2022, 2023. So I'm always mindful of my spend. Now, when I purchased my first handbag, when they offered me the quota bag, I had a very, very minimal pre-spend. I had only bought a few things from the sales associate when then she turned around and offered me the Birkin a few days later. So that was very, very minimal. And it was nothing in any type of jewelry or homeware. It was literally basically leather goods, because it was a wallet, rodeo, and like basically shoes and a little hair scrunchie. So it was a minimal pre-spend. Also, the time of year also has quite a bit to do with it, because in the beginning of the year, everything starts over, right? People are starting over to build that pre-spend, and so by the end of the year, it might be a better time for you to try, or you might even start to see a lot of people receiving offers more often, to where you'll see a lot of videos coming up where people are saying, oh, I got a quota bag, this and that, or I got lucky, or maybe people got their second offer. So that's something also that I have been made aware of myself, but that's something that I also see in the videos that I have been watching as I'm doing my own research, right? As you are here watching me, you're doing research for yourself on how to build your profile and build your relationship with the brand and with your sales associate. Another thing to consider as you are building your pre-spend is to also prioritize your spending, because especially because of how costly it can be. Whereas normally sometimes we might, dabble in, okay, I'll buy a Gucci bag, or I'll buy a Chanel bag, or I'll buy here and there. I'm buying different things. Also consider trying to just prioritize your spending to where you're really just focused on buying things from the brand itself, from Hermes, and not buying other things here and there. If your wallet can handle it, then by all means. But if you want to be more conscientious of it, then prioritize your spending to where you are just, strictly sticking to Hermes, because you're focusing on building that spend with Hermes to build that profile to get your offer a lot sooner. Right? May from Mrs. Leiva's channel, she's a great example. When she wanted to start to work towards getting an offer for her quota bag, she knew exactly what she wanted. There was no if, ands, or buts. There's no other options. This is what I specifically want. And she prioritized her spending to just stay focused on buying things from the brand and not really getting things from like Louis Vuitton here, or another little bag here, like different things. She really focused her shopping specifically when she was really working and focusing on building that pre-spend with Hermes. So that's a good example of what I will say is to prioritize your spending. But again, if your wallet can handle it by you still spending the pre-spend and getting a lot of other items, then by all means go for it. But not a lot of us have that luxury. Not a lot of us have that luxury, which I don't, right? Even though I have disposable income to be able to buy some things, I still do prioritize certain things that I want to spend on. So my first handbag offer was in 2020, and then my second quota bag offer was in 2024. Now, I could have gone the route as other people, as they share their journey, where they're consistently going and, going every month, or every couple of months or whatever, where they're consistently just spending and they're building that profile to where they can quickly receive, a quota bag offer. For myself, I went at my own pace and I took pauses. So even though I would buy I wasn't always consistently buying. And so number one, it's not as easy for me because I don't have a local boutique. It would probably be different if I did. But I think for me, my saving grace is that I have a distant relationship, right? My main boutique that I buy from is in Dallas. So it's not easy for me to just like, oh, I'm going to go this Saturday and I'm going to go to the store, or I'm going to go after work and, catch up with my sales associate and pop into the store to see what's new. What do they have? This is why I rely on what I see on YouTube, or when I do happen to check the website, or what I happen to see that pops up on Instagram that might interest me, to where then I might reach out to my sales associate and say, hey, I like this headband. I really want that. Can you get that for me? Ship it to me. So I'll sporadically buy things like that. So where it's maybe a purchase every 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. I went a year where I only made like one purchase. And then the following year, I got my second offer. My second offer for my quota bag for my Kelly was in 2024, which was last year. So there was a 4-year gap. But within that 4-year gap, I would sporadically buy things here and there at Hermes, sometimes within my dedicated stay, but then I would also take, vacations and buy things at other boutiques, which I don't count, towards my offers. However, I also prioritized other things. So for me, I knew I wanted to build my luxury watch collection. So I wanted to focus more on purchasing luxury watches versus prioritizing my spend. I prioritized spending my disposable income on building my luxury watch collection versus my handbags. So it's all in how you do it. So some people are very dedicated to be consistent and go every month or every couple of months because they are really working to quickly hopefully receive an offer. Whereas others like myself, we're more casual spenders. I am more of a casual spender, a casual buyer with Hermes. I love the brand. I respect the brand. I love a lot of products that the house makes, and I will buy some. Some things I like them, but I like them at a distance. It's not something that I would consider purchasing for myself, or I know it's an item that I like, but I will purchase it on the pre-loved market because of just the cost of it, right? But know that you don't have to consistently, go and spend a lot of money, and as often as you as others do. You don't have to do that, right? So that's why I say monkey see, monkey don't fall into the same practices of others. You play at your own pace and you play at your own risk. And if you need to take a break, you need to take a break. But I've always maintained connection with my sales associates. So even though I didn't consistently always buy every few months or every month, I would still check in with her. I would still check in with her to see how she's doing, and reach out to ask about a specific item, or maybe I was in the market looking for something, and so then I would buy something from her, but I would still keep in touch. I know her birthday. I would, send her greetings for Thanksgiving, for Christmas, for like holidays. So I would still keep in touch because I'm still continuing to build and maintain a positive relationship with my sales associate, because that is key. That is the forefront always versus my spend. My relationship is always going to be at the forefront. And that's what I always am going to recommend to anybody. Don't worry about what others are spending. You focus on you. You focus on your own strategy. Make that your strategy to focus on the relationship and to play at your own pace. Buy at your own pace and at your own set affordability, right? Because you want to buy from this house, from this luxury house, in a financially responsible manner. And so that's why for me, I've paced myself. I'm not in a hurry to receive a quota bag every year, or to really look for receiving, or to even, hopefully receive 2 offers. My budget can't handle that. I can't financially. Could I do it? Yes, but that's not what I choose to do, because there's other things that I want to do. I want a vacation. There's other things that I want to spend my money on, because I know what I use the most, and what I use the most and grab the most and change out every day, really more so to coordinate with my outfits, are my watches, not my handbags. If you changed out your handbag every day, then it would make sense for you to do that, right? But I know I alternate my handbags once a week. So that's how you want to focus your prioritization when you're thinking about as you're making the pre-spend, as you're purchasing things. Don't feel that you have to be in a rush. It's going at your own pace and being responsible financially in the purchases that you are making, so that you are always mindful that you are, staying, yes, consistent and communicating with your SA, but to where you don't feel that you're going to then overspend. Because for me, I'm always mindful that I want to make sure that I do keep my purchases within like a 1-to-1 or under a 1-to-1, right? Because my first offer was under a 1-to-1 ratio. So just be mindful of that. Just be financially responsible as you're building this pre-spend, so you don't feel that you've gambled away, all this money, because you're taking a chance. You are taking a chance, and just focus on the relationship and be mindful and always in the back of your mind, know how much you are spending, so that this way you won't then feel later that you've, overspent. Just remember, monkey see, monkey don't. Go at your own pace. I hope this helps give you an idea of my thoughts, my opinions on, on how you are building your pre-spend and what to spend it on. I will have a different video where I've specifically covered my pre-spend for both of the quota bag offers that I have received, so you can see truly the items that I did buy and how I didn't buy in those specific categories, and the amount it was that I spent working with the one dedicated SA that I have that offered me both of these handbags. For my next class, for our next session, we are going to be talking about what to buy and what not to buy. The items that I have purchased for my pre-spend that I think are good purchases, wise purchases, financially responsible purchases, and those that I feel that are not financially responsible purchases from the actual boutique or online. So that is going to be our topic for our next session, and I hope to see you in that class. Thank you so much for joining me today. I will see you guys in the next video, and if you have any questions or comments, please put them down below. I look forward to seeing y'all next time. Hasta la próxima, amigos. Bye-bye.